I am so excited for our lesson today. We have been working with earthworms every single day for the past week or so. And every single day, we've been doing a fair test. We've learned a lot about what earthworms like and what they don't like. So I'm wondering if someone could remind me some of the things we've learned during our fair tests. We've learned a lot about what their environmental preferences are. What mealworms, well first mealworms, now earthworms, what they like, where they like to live, what they want in a habitat. So we know they like a wet environment. We know they like a dark environment. We know they like a cold environment. There was one other fair test we did. Do you remember, Joels? Say it again? Smooth or rough. Did they like a rough environment or a smooth environment? Smooth. So you guys, we've determined they like it where it's cold. We've determined they like it where it's wet. We've determined they like it smooth and they like it dark. We even figure out what they like to smell, what they don't like to smell. But guys, there's one really, really important thing that we did not determine. Do you think you know what it is, Thomas? What?
What they like to eat.
What they like to eat. Every living thing has to eat stuff, and we still don't know. We have an environment for them to live in, but we don't know what they eat. If they don't have anything to eat, they're going to die. So we have to figure out today what they're going to eat. But this one's tricky. We've been doing fair tests where they have to choose between two different variables, either hot or cold, either wet or dry. Today, we have 4 different things for them to choose from. They will have 4 different foods to pick from. They will have carrot. They will have apple. They will have some ham, or they will have these leaves. In all of our fair tests, we have been using the scientific method. The first thing we do is ask a question. So today, what is our question? Sam, what's our question today?
What does he like? Does he like ham, leaves, pellets, apple?
What do they like to eat? What do they prefer to eat is our question. So our question is what do they prefer to eat? The next step, we have to make a hypothesis. We have to think about what we already know about them and say what we think is going to happen when we test it out. Are they going to like apples? Are they going to like leaves? Are they like ham? Are they going to like carrots? Think about it to yourself for a second. What do you think our earthworm will prefer? Valentina, what do you think our earthworm will prefer? Think about it. Now turn and tell your partner.
I
Eyes back on me in 1. Jason's ready. Zach's ready. So is Amelia. That's another rock for purple. Now, I heard some really good answers. I'm wondering, Julian, what do you think? What do you think the answer to our question is? Will they prefer apples, carrots, leaves, or ham? You said what? You think they'll prefer apples? Why?
Because the apples have apple juice in them, so they like to smell apple juice.
Okay, so I like how he went back to stuff we learned earlier. He took knowledge he already knows about earthworms. He knows they like the smell of apple juice. So he made the easy connection. Maybe they like to eat apples. That's a really good hypothesis. Yes, Bella, what do you think? Hold on a sec, Bella. Let's make sure everyone's tracking Bella. Bella's got important things to say. We're all part of a learning scientific community here. We want to listen to what our friends have to say. Bella, what is your hypothesis? Chaz is still ready to go. Emma, you're doing awesome today. In fact, Emma, you're crushing it right now. Can I get a high five real fast? Thank you, man. Okay, so, Judge, today, our question is, what do earthworms like to eat? We have some good hypotheses. Some people think apples. Some people think leaves. I heard Chaz. He said carrots. So what we have to do now, we have to do our experiment. We got to test it out. We got to collect some data and see what our earthworms prefer. So here's my question for you. Here's our bin. Here are our 4 foods. When we did our fair tests, one side was wet, one side was dry, so we could see which side he picked. But that was when we had 2 variables. Now we have 4 variables. How on earth are we going to use this to design a fair test to figure out what our earthworms like? Let's hear from Emma. We haven't heard from Emma in a while. Yes, Emma, what do you think?
Put them in corners.
Put what in corners?
The food in corners.
So put all 4 of the foods in this corner right here?
No.
No.
Like, one is there, and one is there, and one is there, and one is there.
So put like the apple in one corner, and then what would I do over here?
The leaf.
The leaf, what about here? Carrot, what about here? Ham. So you want to put 1 in each corner, and then what do I do with the earthworm? Do I put them right on top of the apple?
No, you just like put it in the middle.
I put the earthworm right in the middle, and then what? Then what do we do? What? Then he moves and we observe him and we watch and see. Now, hold on one second. You guys, I've noticed a lot of times right when we put our earthworm in, he kind of just moves, either sits there for a second, doesn't do anything, or maybe goes around and goes crazy all over the place. So when we're observing our earthworm today, if he immediately goes over to, let's say, the ham, I'm not going to immediately think, okay, he likes ham. Because even if I was in a new environment, I'd probably want to look all around before I decided where I was going to go and hang out. Think about this. What if you were at a buffet or at a dinner and you were so hungry, and you were so hungry, and you walk in your room and at the table there was pizza, there were hamburgers, there were hot dogs, there was salad, there was pasta, there was ravioli, there was soup, there was fruit, there was a cheese plate, there were crackers, there was tons and tons of different things. I don't know about you guys, I would probably go and I'd look at everything, check everything out, walk all the way around the table, see what all my options are, and then I would pick one. And I have a sneaking suspicion that's probably what our earthworm's going to do. So right away, if he goes one way, we can't immediately think that that's what he loves. We need to keep observing and watch for the whole class period and see what he picks after all. Jason, you asked a question.
I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you that there's how it's because it's so free for anything.
Okay, so Jason hypothesizes that our earthworms like carrots. Hey, we have a lot of good hypotheses, answers to our question. So now, Marina, now that we've asked the question, we've made some hypothesis, what we think is going to happen, what do we do next?
Can we just watch the earthworm and see if it
Right.
chooses that side?
Okay, so we watch it, we observe, we have to conduct the experiment to see what happens. If you're ready to conduct the experiment, raise one hand. If you're ready to conduct the experiment, raise the second hand. If you're ready to conduct the experiment, raise your third hand.
No.
Okay, I see a leg, that works. What do you want to know? What are you curious about? That's the number one job of a scientist, is ask as many questions as you can possibly think of. So who has a question? Remember, I will call people that are sitting in perfect silent Magic 5 with silent hands up in the air. Wow, that's a lot of questions. Awesome, I'm very excited. So let's start with our friend Marina. Marina, what's your question?
What's after space?
Can you say that again?
What's after space?
Chaz, could you hear her?
No.
Say it louder again.
What's after space?
She said, what's after space? What do you mean, what's after space? Sam, turn around. What do you mean, what's after space?
What comes after space?
Well, you mean so there's outer space, right? Well, first of all, we're all in space right now. We think of space and outer space as other planets and stars and moons and galaxies far away. But the Earth, we are in space. Space is everywhere. We are in space. The Earth is part of our solar system. Our solar system is in space. So first of all, we are in space. And you said, what's after space? Well, people have certain estimates about how big the entire universe is, how big outer space is. And in fact, outer space right now, in the entire universe, is expanding, it's getting bigger. So space, as far as we know right now, is still growing, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. After space, at the edge, the boundary of the universe, people don't know. We don't know. One of the best answers that you can have as a scientist, Emma, is I don't know. Marina, I love that question because I don't know the answer. There are times I would rather not know the answer than actually know it, because that means that's a new thing for me to study and learn about and explore and try to find the answer. So I'm glad you asked that question.